Hey, this is Mark at the Motor City Comic Con. I'm here with Tait Fletcher. You might recognize this guy from maybe something like The Mandalorian, Breaking Bad, Westworld, Jumanji. Tell us, how did you get started in acting?
Oh wow, long story. How long's your segment?
As long as you want it to be.
I was running security at a nightclub in Santa Fe, New Mexico, and Master P and a bunch of the No Limit soldiers from Louisiana came in. They were making movies, and they said we need some big white boys for this prison film we're doing, and I fit the description, and so that's where I got a SAG card. And then they said, you know, one of the guys that running the show said, you should move out to LA and live in my guest house, and there's a lot of work out here for a guy like you. And I go, thanks, I'm just a kid from Michigan. I don't feel like that's really possible. I'm doing this one thing. I was doing a lot of wrestling and jiu-jitsu at the time, and I was training for some cage fights, and I was like, I only have to work this one job, and I'm not gonna go and be in movies. That's ridiculous. And so I went and followed a whole nother career path for about 10 years, and then movies came back to me a while later, and I ended up meeting that same guy again on The Equalizer about 10, 11 years later. And I said, do you know who you are to me? And he had no idea. And I told him, he was like, holy shit, yeah. So that first movie was called Lockdown, I think. And that's the first movie that I did. Yeah, that was my first interest in film.
So it's pretty lucrative playing sort of a henchman kind of tough guy kind of roles, huh?
Well, depends what you think of as lucrative. We'd have to define your terms, you know what I mean? It's like talking about success. Like that's a different thing for everybody.
Making a living.
Yeah, you can make a good living dying.
So what was some of the most interesting projects you've worked on?
I mean, The Mandalorian is like, of course, huge. But you know, I've worked for Marvel. I've worked, you know, in a lot of these big shows. Worked on Breaking Bad. Got a SAG award for that. And those are all super special in their own right. But to make stuff with your friends, like me and Keith Jardine put together a movie called Killer Cafe and another one called El Paso. And we'll take those to film festivals. And to make something that you create is the only place you really have agency. And so to be able to have an idea, foment that idea, and execute it, that's a whole special skill set in itself. And so that Keith and I used to be fighting partners back in the day in mixed martial arts, and then we kind of went into film together. And so to make films with Keith is beyond the best thing ever for me. The next big thing that I have that's coming up is I got to play a character. We created this character on Gen V, which is an offshoot of the Boys universe, and that was one of the best experiences I've ever had as far as filming.
Have you been hitting the con circuit lately, and what do you think about it?
Yeah, little bits here and there. I thought it was really strange at first. I was like, I don't know, like people come up to me in restaurants and be like, can I get a picture? It's like, yeah, it's $20. You know, it just seemed odd, and I didn't understand what cons were. It was the first time I'd ever experienced it. And my friend Sala Baker, who played Sauron in Lord of the Rings, he was the guy, he's like, well, just come with me and check it out. And so we went, and I was like, wow, this is amazing. Like the artists that are here, and I don't mean the people that have booths, I mean just all the people that come here that design their own costumes, that come up, the interest, the creativity that abounds here, the kind of wholesome welcomeness, like regardless of what anybody's wearing or doing, people are like, oh, that looks great, do it like this, how did you do your hair? And like you see these kids that are just all fully supporting. It's like an ecosystem of just kindness and love that I didn't know existed at all. My mom was like, what's it like going to and when I first went, and I said, you know how they have the Humane Society and they put puppies out in front of the grocery store, and they're like, literally, I'm one of the puppies. Like people just come and they're, oh my God, thank you so much. You know, like it's crazy. It's like that, yeah.
So you already talked about a few of the things you have coming out. What else do you have coming out down the pipeline?
That's it, man. Well, I just did another show last month called He Bleeds Neon, He Bled Neon, something like that, with Joe Cole, who is one of the Peaky Blinders and was the lead in Gangs of London. And so we just wrapped that up last month. Killer Cafe that we did with Keith and a couple of our friends that were in what's the space show, Roswell. So we build a lot of, you know, we built Broken Ear Productions out of Santa Fe, New Mexico, is where like me and Cowboy Cerrone, Jardine, a bunch of us live and stayed after our fight careers were done, and it's kind of moved into films. Cowboy's deep into films as well, and so yeah, just making stuff with my buddies. That's the best.
Where can people and your future fans find you on social media?
Man, just my name, Tait Fletcher. I'm easy to find.
Okay, well, Tait, it was a pleasure speaking with you.
Man, Nice to meet you.
And this is Mark
Thanks, y'all.
at Motor City Comic Con.